Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Hassan here. Yes, today we are going to have a little, I'm going to talk a little bit about the COVID-19 and diet. So this is basically, what I've done is I've looked at the different research that is from regular doctors, MDs, specialists in pulmonary and other areas that's related to what the damage the COVID-19 virus will do, which is mainly pneumonia and lung-related illnesses, which unfortunately is not the only thing that you can get besides dying, of course. There are a lot of other things. It can go attacking the liver, it can and nervous system. There's a couple of cases where it has been hitting the nervous system of certain people. Stay there, okay. To avoid all of this problem with the COVID-19, because the thing is, many people, they are kind of misunderstanding, because there are certain people who are advertising certain products and saying you can protect yourself or you can avoid getting it. It's not about avoiding getting it, because that's almost impossible, but it is about not getting sick from the COVID-19 virus. That's the whole point. For example, they say that there are more than 2.5 million worldwide, 2.5 million people confirmed who have been tested to have the COVID-19, and besides the 2.5 million, there are millions and millions of people who never got a test because they did not have any symptom. And the fact is, you can be asymptomatic. That means that you could, let me just go like this. All right, this keeps sliding. All right, so you can actually have the COVID-19 in your body, in your blood, and in your lungs, and you don't show any symptoms for different reasons. And also, there is also sometimes that you might have it and you don't have any symptoms for a while, and then suddenly maybe it starts mutating, or your immune system is not doing a great job, so suddenly you start showing symptoms of the virus. So there are, who knows, probably a couple of 100 million people who actually has been exposed to the virus and can technically transmit, which is why it's very important to have your personal protection equipment and hygiene. So when you go outside your house, make sure you wear a minimum an N95 level mask, and that N95 is kind of like where they say that this is like anything below that, it can still come through. And of course, make sure it's fit correctly on your face. It's a little bit more complicated when you have a beard, because those masks, sometimes they are, it gets open a little bit on the side, which is a problem because it can even sneak in on the side when when it's airborne, and it is airborne. It has, of course, a limited lifespan and limited travel distance, but you can track it on the floors. So that means that you might be going into a building that has people that has the virus, and it's you're walking around, even you're not close to them, you can get it on your shoes. So that means you really got to think about what you're doing when you go to a mall or a supermarket or any kind of store or anything like that where there's a lot of people, because you're going to be tracking it inside your house. So make sure you have some kind of spray that is sterilizing, And what you can do is, of course, don't put your shoes inside your house, leave it outside, but give them a little spray now and again to reduce the chance of because you might tie your shoes if they are having laces, and then you got it on your hands, because that's how it can happen. So anyway, this is not what this video is about. I just want to remind you about these things. So this video about how you can fight the virus if you get it. Okay, so there are 5 components that is well known and well documented as a way to increase the immune system and create natural killer cells, meaning cells that will attack and kill the influenza or flu viruses, and COVID-19 is one of such viruses. So it's not just for the COVID-19, but it's there's a good chance it will be effective against that too, because it has the same RNA and DNA are similar. Anyway, so those 5 are quercetin, that's spelled Quercetin. Okay, so this is actually an what do you call it? Antioxidant. Is actually a chemical that you can find in certain food groups. And I will mention, I'm not going to mention every single thing, because some of them is in every food that you can eat, but I will mention the group, the foods that has the highest amount, so you get the most benefit out of it. So we start with onions, and in this case red onions is better. Shallots, which are usually red, all right. There is some in garlic and ginger, but I will talk about garlic and ginger because that has another benefit. And they are not the ones that has the highest level of that, but they are having other benefits. So onions, specifically red onions and shallots, that has the red. Then another thing that's high is green tea. Apples, mostly red apples. Green apples have it, but not as much. Berries, many red berries have a good high amount of quercetin. And buckwheat, if you have access to buckwheat, is a good. We don't find that, at least not for a reasonable price in Indonesia. Then we have watercress, cilantro, red leaf lettuce, not the normal lettuce, but red leaf lettuce. You have kale, elderberry, cranberry, blueberry, and blackberries, and mulberries, and then figs. All those that I just mentioned are all the highest in quercetin, and quercetin is a very important component in your body, so much that many of the doctors right now is actually eating supplements that has it. All right, so that's a very important thing, and it's very documented. It's something you should focus on adding to your diet. So you won't eat. Maybe you're not eating onions at every meal, or you're not drinking green tea every day. But with this group, you can at least make sure that you get maybe 3 or 4 of those things. Okay, maybe 3 of them one day, and another 3 another day, and so on and so on. So you get covered at least every day. You get at least 3 or 4 of these particular things. Okay. Some of these also have some of the other components that I'm going to cover. Then another thing that's also good to strengthen the immune system, and also has a very high defense against viruses, influenza-based or influenza-type viruses. Oh, didn't sleep much last night, and that's bad. And I will get to that. All right. So with the vitamin C, okay, the highest level of vitamin C are in rose hips, red chili peppers, guavas, black currants, mustard spinach. Okay, what did she say it's called here in Indonesia? I just forgot it. Anyway, there is a local, this mustard spinach, they have it locally here in Indonesia. Anyway, kale has high level C, yeah, who would have guessed, right? Yes, I did, but of course that's my job. Kiwi, broccoli, yeah, high level C too. Brussels sprouts, lemons, lychees, papaya, strawberries and oranges. Yes, some of those things, such as oranges, why people are thinking, oh wow, it's a huge amount. And then they're looking at kale, that can have vitamin C, or broccoli. Actually, per gram, vitamin C is a higher vitamin C in kale and broccoli and Brussels sprouts than in oranges. Yeah, crazy, isn't it? Okay, so make sure you try and eat a couple of these things, okay? And I started with the highest, which is rose hips, so if you can get rose hips, phenomenal. Okay, guavas, black currants, mustard spinach, kale, kiwi, and so on and so on. So in each group I have fruits and I have vegetables, okay? Of course, animal products, that's just dumb. Okay, some of these components you can find in some animal products, such as zinc, of course, you can find in some animal products. But the thing is, you're getting a lot of other stuff that is bad for you at the same time, so it's just not smart, okay? All right, and then we go to vitamin D. Now, the thing is, a lot of people say, hey, there's no vitamin D in anything. And that's true, except for mushrooms. And in this case, shiitake mushrooms. Oh, it's so yummy, right? You know. So there is shiitake mushrooms, they have it. They always have it, you know, no matter what kind or where you get it. And the fresh one better than the dried one, like 5 or 6, maybe almost 10 times the amount compared to a dry. So try and get them fresh. And then portobello and white button mushrooms, they do have it, but only if it's UV exposed, because that's what they do these days, and maybe for a while. They are when they are growing these, they are having UV lights to help them grow, because they grow inside the tunnels and caves, and you know, they don't grow in under the sun. All right, it's funny enough, because the sun is giving us the D vitamin. So anyway, so shiitake mushrooms, definitely a no-brainer. And then of course, if you can, when you go outside, make sure you you wear a short sleeve, you don't cover your face too much. Of course, now you're going out in places where there's a lot of people, you cover everything, all right, as much as possible, even your eyes, because it can enter through the eyes and you wouldn't even know it happened. So, of course, I'm talking about going out somewhere, you know, where maybe you have a backyard, nobody will disturb you. You can, you know, put on a t-shirt and some shorts, and you know, spend half an hour every day if you are in lockdown anyway. So that's D vitamin is a very important part of it. So, and the next thing is zinc. I'm not going to go into all the clinical and this is the evidence and that is the evidence, because it's, you know, there's already plenty of people doing that. I'm just reminding people about what food groups and what is the best way to get it. All right, if you want to debate, then go somewhere and debate with somebody. All right, zinc. Okay, and this is, I'm starting with the higher levels of zinc content. By the way, I should mention this. Try to get this from foods rather than supplements, because when you get the supplement, it doesn't have a high level of bioavailability. That means that it doesn't absorb well in the body. And especially if you're eating like vitamin C and zinc at the same time, one cancels the other out or reduces the absorption. There's so many issues. But once you get it in foods, it's not a problem. So it's very important that you don't use supplements, but you use foods to get these components. Anyway, so zinc. You've got tofu, you've got lentils, you've got chickpeas, you've got oats, and again, shiitake mushroom is a good one. So it has two things that you really want from there. Pumpkin seeds, quinoa, spinach, button mushrooms, even the non-UV, but you will get the UV, then you get the two things again. Flax seeds, which also have omega-3s, which is very important for you, and then green peas. Of course, there are other things that have zinc in it, but these are the ones that are really worth to focus on. And then you have NAC, which stands for N-acetylcysteine. Okay, this is a component, and also a component that's considered an antioxidant. But what you do is you eat this as much as you can every day, and it will protect you from getting sick from the coronavirus. And it comes in lentils, most lentils, different kind of lentils. Okay, so lentils and legumes and beans have a good amount of this, but lentils specifically is the best. And then oats, and then sunflower seeds. All right. So you see, you have a lot of choices in these groups. All right. So you put that in. If you started watching this, not from the beginning, then go to the beginning, write down the things I'm telling you. Okay, because these are all things that you want to try to eat every day. At least take 3 to 4 from each of those groups. Of course, for example, the vitamin D, you don't have many choices, but at least get some sunlight. Anyway, so the next thing I want to mention is also about antiviral supplements or antiviral foods. Now, garlic, raw garlic, okay, there are two components in garlic that when you crush it, they get mixed and create a third component, and that third component is highly antiviral, is like a miracle drug almost. And the pharmaceutical industry is really angry that they cannot patent it, because it's in the food, so they can't patent it. Anyway, and of course you can just go and buy garlic in the supermarket or the market, right? So anyway, so if you can, what we do in our family is we take each person every day. If we are not sick, we do like this. We take each person once a day 1 clove of garlic that we crush in a garlic press. Okay, I should have taken it from the kitchen to show you, but a garlic press, okay? All right, it's a little bit like a scissor, except it has the opposite. It squeezes the garlic. All right, so it's crushed, and because it's crushed, it will mix those two components to create the third one. Anyway, that component, so you put that, so you have your food, your rice and sauce and whatever. So you take this crushed garlic and put it on top. Don't cook the garlic. After the food is already ready to eat, you're ready to eat, you throw that on top and then you munch it down. And if you're mixing it or if you're eating it with your food, you won't smell. So don't worry about that too much. Okay. Now, if you are sick, it can still help you, because what you can do is, and that's what I prescribe for my patients who have certain diseases such as COVID-19. When you are sick, you take 2 cloves and crush it, add to your food, and you do that 3 times a day. And you can do that 3, 4, 5 days, and most likely after the 3rd day, you already killed whatever bug, whatever virus you got. All right. And then another thing that we also should mention here, ginger. Ginger is an antiviral as well, and what do you call it? A lot. And it kills bacteria. It's anti-inflammatory. That's what I wanted to say. Anyway, so what we do is you take a little piece of ginger, like maybe a little piece like that, and then you slice it. You could take a sharp knife and then you cut it into slices, as thin as you can. All right, and then you put that in a cup and you pour in boiling water, and then you let it stand for like 5 minutes. Maybe mix in a little bit of honey if it's too tough for you to drink. And then you drink that. You drink a cup like that every day, and you have a much better chance of surviving COVID-19 and similar problems. Okay, so that's very important. Then we have another one which we call, it has different names, it's like a hydrotherapy, but specifically it's a thermal hydrotherapy. Okay. And it consists, if you have a hot shower, if you have a shower in your house and you have a chance to make it hot, the water hot, so this is what you do. You get in the shower, obviously, and then you turn it as hot as you can handle. Okay. If you can't handle it, so you have to get out after 5 seconds, then it's too hot. Just hot enough that you can stand for 5 minutes, but as hot as possible, because the hotter it gets, the more effective this is. So 5 minutes, you stand in very, very hot water, shower, okay, pouring over you. After that, you turn to cold and stand as cold as you can handle as well. If it's ice water you can handle, then make it ice water, okay? 1 minute. Once you stand in 1 minute, okay, if you have a waterproof watch, maybe you can use the watch while you're in the shower there, and you can test it at the same time. Hopefully it's really waterproof. Anyway, so after the 5 minutes are hot, you do 1 minute of very, very cold. After that is done, you switch to hot again, and stand for 3 minutes this time, 3 minutes. Then you go back to cold again for 1 minute. Then you go back to hot again for 3 minutes, and as I said, very hot, and then back to cold. So it's 5 minutes hot, 1 minute cold, 3 minutes hot, 1 minute cold, 3 minutes hot, and 1 minute cold. And that's the last one. So it's about 14 minutes in total. And then you dry your body and, get on with your day. All right, so that's another thing. This has been proven to work very well against pneumonia, against other types such as, respiratory illnesses, influenza, and all of these kind of things. What it does is it's basically it's actually activating the natural killer cells in your body and your immune system to fight. That's why it's very important that we get a fever. And if you try to keep a fever down, sometimes you actually get more sick. Of course, you have to avoid the fever doesn't get so high that you get brain damage, which can happen if it gets above 40, 41. So there's nothing wrong with having 39 in fever. All right, it's a good sign. It means that your body is fighting whatever disease. The last thing I want to mention is sleep. Yes, because during the day when you are awake, you have a lot of hormonal activities in your body, which does not happen when you're sleeping. Okay, So you need, if you get high hormonal change during the day, hormonal activity, I would say, um, what can happen is it will make it easier. You are more susceptible to catching diseases. All right. So, which is why certain people who go through hormonal changes, they usually end up getting sick from it. All right. Hormonal activity increases susceptibility to certain diseases, especially viruses and inflammation. So you want to make sure you sleep minimum 7 hours at night, okay, and 8 hours is better. There is like a dropping point where you can say if you get past the 8, it can be a problem, because there's another thing that's going to happen in your body if you get too much sleep. All right. So the perfect is between 7 to 8 and closest to 8. And then when you get closer to 9, it starts dropping off and not being a benefit, but it even can become a problem. Like 10, 11 hours of sleep is actually not good for you. So there's the sleep, and try to make sure that when you sleep, you have good quality sleep, because you can have 6 hours of really good sleep or have 8 hours of not tossing and turning in the bed, and you're not really sleeping properly. You wake up every half an hour or every hour. All of those things makes the sleep not good quality, and that's very important that it's good quality sleep for 7 to 8 hours. Some people, they're not aware of it. They wake up because of some noises from outside the house or inside the house, or so one thing that is a good idea if people have difficulty to sleep is a noise machine. Yes. And you can use your phone. Maybe you are plugging your phone into charge during the night. Maybe you can download a file like some gray noise, like shh. We have an air purifier in the bedroom actually here that gives a nice, usually, because the thing is, it's noisy, but it's constant. It's constant. So when you fall asleep, any clink clink or any kind of noise that you might hear from outside the house, like a cat or a dog barking or any kind of thing, it will drown it out. So you turn it up just high enough so you will still be able to sleep, but it will drown out all these small noises, knocking and clinking, or cars speeding up, all of these things. Even when you're sleeping, you wake up and then you're wondering why you woke up, but because the noise is already gone. All right. So it's very important to try and sleep well. As I said, it's very important for your immune system, and to make sure that when you are awake, you are less susceptible to catching diseases. All right. So if you have any question, I'm gonna this is Facebook. I'm gonna share it in a different couple of places and probably upload it to YouTube. So you can comment below and ask questions, or as I said, forget about the supplements. B12 is the only supplement you would ever want to add to your diet, because you just can't get that anywhere, all right, or not in a significant amount anyway. But what you do about, let me just, before I finish, mention that don't buy those, like this one here. This is a B12, 500 500 microgram of B12. Don't buy this, because the thing is, it costs, maybe, let's say it costs $10, all right, and has 500 microgram. I can, for $10 or maybe $11, so you eat one every day. So 100, it will last me 3 months. Okay. Now I can buy 100 for $11. I can buy 100. That's 5,000 micrograms, 10 times more. And that one I can eat once a week. and it has 100 too. That will last me 2 years. For $11, it can last 2 years. All right. This lasts me 3 months. $10. 5,000 microgram. I can take it once because you don't need to have that every day. Once, maximum twice a week if it's 5,000 microgram. So if it's 500, you need it daily. So buy as big as possible. If it's 2,500, definitely every 3 or 4 days. All right. If it's 5,000, once a week is enough. All right. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. I hope you get some benefit, and remember to stay healthy. Wash your hands. Use your goggles or some kind of glasses protecting your eyes when you go out, and of course N95 mask to avoid breathing in or spreading the virus. Alright, so until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Don't forget, you can watch this video from the beginning. I'm gonna save it in a second here. Alright.